You see this rain on the windows? This is just like my tears. Skytucky was my woman. She was so much more. So much more. Some called her reckless. Some called her a tramp. And many men just called her. You see in her an absence of education, but me, I see the love of my existence. We met on the road. She was hitchhiking in the same direction, and our paths overlapped. She shared her processed cheese and sunflower seeds with me. I'll tell you what kind of a woman she was. She would separate the shell from the kernel with her teeth and give me the inside kernel. She did love those salty shells. Now you tell me, how many women would do that for their man? Our travels took us to Washington and the Cascade Mountains. Sometimes we'd hitch in separate cars, but we usually ended up in the same city. Well, eventually. Skytucky would sometimes linger with one of her rides, especially if they fed her. Some say she was a woman with absolutely no ethics. Now, I'm not saying that I was her first, but she always found her way back to my bed or sleeping roll. I'd like to think that I knew her before she reached quadruple digits. You know, some loves are just deeper than others. We settled for a while in Skyhomish and began making plans for life together. We shared a house together for a few months as squatters. Finally, we were evicted when the snows melted. But they were fine times. We did many cultural things together. I took her to the local modern art museum. She marveled at the craftsmanship and even tried to whittle a few sculptures herself with her pocket knife. A woman can't be too careful at night crossing the Skycomish Bridge into town. We reveled in our privacy together. We often hitchhiked to Gold Bar for our shopping. Then Startup, and our favorite, Sultan, all in the very same afternoon. We shoplifted food, and hey, we shoplifted firewood. But the best of all, sometimes we dined at the high-end local cuisine establishments. Sultan in particular is known for their live music and grilling. Many Sundays we just watched the trains pass. Sometimes we'd linger into the afternoon watching the bumper-to-bumper traffic of people heading back to exotic places like Seattle, Edmonds, or Lake City. We envied them. They owned their own car. Skytucky always wanted a car of her own, so every once in a while she'd steal one. She was adept at sneaking off with a car that had the key still in the ignition. I admired her cunning. Sometimes she would drive as far as Wellington, but the same issue kept reoccurring. She was not able to parallel park and kept using stationary buildings for brakes. I tried to teach her, but Skytucky was a stubborn woman. In Sultan, we enjoyed watching the salmon spawn under the bridge. She would also allow me to take certain liberties. October was our favorite month to watch the salmon. They didn't seem to jump so much, so every time we always got a really good view. We talked about marriage and even picked out our church. A small, discreet, and diminutive chapel, but it suited our needs. We planned a small ceremony with only a few guests, and then, the best part of all, we would sneak into the historic Skytucky Hotel, which was then under construction. It would be magical, and best of all, something I could afford. There were shadows on the horizon. There was sadness in her voice, and on a regular basis. I couldn't keep Skytucky. My pockets were deep enough to prove my love. She left me one morning without a trace or a note. Some say she didn't leave a note because she was illiterate. I maintain she didn't because the escape was just too traumatic for words. I knew that she'd been depressed. I even went to our favorite swimming hole to see if she might have, in desperation, jumped during the snow melts. But there was no sign of Skytucky. Only more water and stones and water. I had lost her, and carving a tree wasn't simply big enough to contain my grief. I found a blank building side and I started spray painting. I just kept painting until I ran out. All the colors of the rainbow, minus a few. I thought I saw her once in a parking lot holding a sign. I was mistaken. I saw signs of her everywhere. But then, the trail grew cold. I would have done anything for her. Together with her, nothing would have been impossible. We could have enjoyed America now that it's becoming great again. Instead, I am alone, and without my Skytucky. Mostly alone.